This is the grid. Walsh and Tressida on the front row. Tressida's never been here. He's got a front row start. Pingle, the reigning champ, alongside Tucker. Ubergang always good, and Trent Young. Sultan, another karting boy in there. Kyle Clues, a two-time champ of the series. We go back through James Duckworth. Craig Wood, second in the championship at the moment. Blake Shiveris carrying one of our onboards. Casuccio, Stevenson, a race winner already this year. Mark Griffith, always strong in just about any category. Lee Bowler, Ruth's out there as well, but she's a bit further back down in the 15th row. It's an all-girl row back there in row 15. Charlotte Pointing. Same goes row 16. We've got 4 ladies having a crack this weekend. 33 cars ready for the first race under beautiful blue skies. Have you ever had a day like this down here at Phillip Island? This is cracking.
I know, we were just talking about that. It was, you wouldn't know you're at Phillip Island at this time of year. It's amazing, probably perfect conditions. A little bit of a tailwind down the front straight. So the draft will be pretty handy up the back from Siberia up to Lukey Heights. And obviously these guys will go 3 wide through there, so it'll be good.
A couple of onboards to watch out for. Like we mentioned, Blake Shiveris carrying one of them. Looking forward out of his car. It's a very tight, confined workspace when you go racing in this championship. And like we mentioned, Stevenson, winner of race 3 on the streets of Adelaide for the opening round of the championship. Ready to go in the Aussies. Big field, like always. You got to tip the hat to these guys. Most categories at the moment suffering a little bit with grid sizes. These guys pumping them out, over 30 cars once again this weekend. That's pretty good.
Yeah, it is really impressive, especially when you see a few other categories struggling. But look at them warming up their tyres. Because it's such a light car and it's on quite a good tyre, you know, the tyre doesn't really go off over the race. So lap 1, critical to have the tyres up. And I remember when I raced them in 2006, it was the biggest thing is trying to be fast on lap 1, because knowing that the tyre really just doesn't go away. The car's not heavy enough to generate the heat. So yeah, really good racing.
Now the pole sitter, Ben Walsh, this is a good return. He came back to the championship last year. The opening round at Highlands was the first race in 10 years for him. He had a nasty crash in Japanese F3, testing at Fuji, suspension failure, ripped his shoulder apart, and he spent 10 years away from motorsport until last year. Here he is on the pole. That's a good story. And the man alongside him in the Mustang, Kel Tressida. Another good story. I know that you and particularly Scott McLaughlin are good mates with him. Out of Bundaberg, it's his rookie season. Never raced here, puts it on the front row.
He, yeah, obviously he's done a lot in go-karting. I raced him actually in the KZ2 category last year in karts. And impressive to come to Phillip Island. Daunting track. These cars move around a lot. And yeah, slinging on the front row with how many cars? We've got well over 30, yeah. So very impressive.
I had a chat to him after the first practice session. He had pretty wide eyes. He said guys were going around him like he was standing still. The first 3 or 4 laps, he thought, I'm going to be nowhere this week, and this place is just scaring the daylights out of me. And then here he is, after a couple of 20-minute sessions, second fastest guy out there. That is a huge effort.
It is, and how good's the honesty from him? When you speak to him, it's tells it how it is. And yeah, but I think that this will be an amazing race. It's not all won in the first lap in an Aussie racing car. You need to position yourself pretty smartly. It's you could say it's similar like the Formula V stuff. The amount of slipstream in these cars is critical, so I wouldn't be leading it onto the front straight, starting the last lap, put it that way.
You have just about scratched the surface off the big talking topic. Slipstreaming is going to be key. Last year we saw 2 drivers working together at the front to try and gap the field. That is going to be something to watch out for as we are set and ready to go. First race of the weekend. If you've watched a Moto 3 or 125cc race here, you'll know how important that draft is down the front straight. Such big high speeds. What a view, what a day. It's time to go racing on the island. Aussie racing cars. Nick Percat joining me in commentary for this one. Ben Walsh to the left in the pink and black car. And a rookie alongside him, Kel Tressida from Bundaberg. Reigning champ on the second row is one to watch out for as well. Brendan Pingle, as we wait for a start. It's a long, big grid up towards the WD-40 bridge. That man's got to wave a green flag before we can go racing.
Those guys have been sitting there for nearly 2 minutes. It's a long wait.
It's a nervy wait. There's the flag we want to see. Revs are rising. Motorcycle engines up on the noise. Still we wait for the lights. And we're off. And it's Walsh who gets the better jump over Tressida. Cleanly. And it's a long run. Over 700 metres. Pulling gears. Flat to the boards on approach down to this very fast corner. And Peoples picked up Tressida as well.
Cal looked like he probably didn't get the clutch out quite quick enough, bogged down a little bit, but he's come through turn 1. He's still in the top 3, but have a go at that.
That was wild. I thought we were about to commentate a fairly large moment there, and they all sorted out before the southern loop. Typical Aussie racing car action. They somehow find a way to go 3 wide through sections you can barely fit a normal race car in. Here's Shibrus working his way from the southern loop through Stoner Corner.
They're just everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely everywhere. And that was Casuccio trying to go around the top. Walsh drives defensively down the inside. Is that Kyle Clues? I think that was peering to the inside. It's a busy racetrack already. Gee, good use of the AstroTurf at the exit of 4 there. Clever. Oh, 3 wide through Siberia, obviously. Why not?
As you do. One car just take... It's only the width of the curb. Perfect.
You can barely do that on motorbikes. This is going to be brave, though. Through Hayshed. They want to go 3 wide. You want 3 wide, you've got it. Oh, they all slide out to the curb. That's good stuff. There's a 4-car breakaway, though. That's firming because of this, Nick.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Young's just tacked onto the back there, and these 4 need to just be smart, don't block, and you'll get away from this crazy pack who's might have been Clues just running at the back of...
I think it might have been Uber Gang.
Uber Gang.
Yeah, and also Miles Bond. South Aussie.
You're good at picking up the names here.
There's a few everywhere. They are absolutely flying through that last corner. This joint is quick. And you reach top gear, hold it whole way down this long straight towards turn 1 and duck in behind the car in front of you. Goodness me, what has happened here? Hopefully it's all just dust. I think we might have got away with it.
It looked like he's been pretty wide. Did you see the marks on the gravel traps?
Yeah. Looked like a scene at Armageddon down there, but we're still racing on the second lap down at turn 2. Walsh leads us through the first one.
This is going to be a 10-car battle for 5th, I think. The 4 out front have been smart, but this little battle pack, big battle pack, it'll be on. They'll be 3 wide again up into Honda.
Such a wild part of the racetrack and a good chance to pass too. Under brakes down here. Racetrack's a bit messy this morning. A few categories have been finding the limits and then some. Bit of action down at turn 4. Ooh, hard under the brakes, and that's Stevenson picking up a spot a bit further back outside the top 10 at the moment. I think he was picking up 14th position from Blake Shibrus then. What happened in the last corner? Oh,
his front split up.
Yeah, now in a million pieces. And lucky to get away with that one. We'll see that in the V8 Supercars this weekend too. You do run wide there, but you can get away from it. Continue on.
These guys need to work together because Walsh has massive pace to be able to pull away from the draft the way he is. So they need to probably just have a quick little team huddle and go, let's just stay with him because he's going to drive away at this rate.
You can either fight for second and have no chance of winning, or you can work together and try and peel back the leader. That's the options. I think they've cracked the whip on bump drafting as well after what happened at Bathurst last year. So you can't really give each other a bit of a shot in the rear bumper anymore. Tressida to the inside of the reigning champ.
He's driving it very well for someone who's done maybe, what, 10 laps here this morning. Racing against the current champion at a track he doesn't really know. So racecraft here is very difficult because you can actually go side by side, even in a supercar for majority of the track. So he's finding out now. You think he got the move done and he's actually lost one to Young, so he's back to 4th.
Hard under brakes. Clues gets right amongst the action with these guys. Bond on the outside and off goes Shibrus, I believe that is. Got away with it. David Reynolds' dad had a flip through there in an Aussie racing car once. It's not where you want to go upside down. Trent Young now to the inside. Oh, a little bit of a tap there. He just moves Pingle out wide. That's how you get it done. But this is really helping Ben Walsh out. He's opened up about 10 car lengths, which is huge around a track like this.
Yeah, exactly. What happens once you've broken the toe, you can, for some reason, that gap, it's quite easy to maintain. So these guys are battling. I think Ben just needs to keep churning out the laps. And Kel does seem to have a lot of pace. Can't really find a way through at the moment. Probably just a little bit of track knowledge. And the guys behind have a look at it. 2 wide through the Hayshed again.
As you do. Clues hard at work with Uber Gang. James Duckworth, a young teenager out of Sydney. Miles Bond in the green car. That's very tight. And Sultana in the mix with Grant Ludby as well. So it's a busy little battle pack, this one.
These cars, they'll be quite tricky to drive around here. Obviously, short wheelbase. So to drive them fast, you kind of sideways before you even get to the corner, and you see them pull the front wheel up in the air, the inside front wheel on the gas. So you kind of back them in and kind of point them at the apex and you stand on the gas to get a big exit. And it's tricky, and at a high-speed track where you want a stable car, you're probably in the opposite kind of wheelbase is what you want.
At least it's not too windy today. This would be a pretty horrible track with these cars being so light to get shifted around and shoved with big gusts of wind down that front straight. So the champ goes back to fourth in the Lockyer entry. Let's have a ride on board with Shibris here. I think he runs wide at turn 1. Here it is. Tipping it in. It's weird. It just needed a bit more input. Maybe he had someone to the inside and he was just trying to be careful. Bowler side by side with the 55 of Eastman. These two get into each other down there at turn 4. Eastman with a bit of a slide. All the way to the exit. And then some. So that's finding the limits down at turn 4, you could put it.
You could say that.
Yeah.
See, once he got to the grade there, it was all over. But Kel's pulled himself up in a second, so he's got good pace. He just needs to try and put his head down now and get away from these two.
He's got the fastest lap of the race. And he's only 3/10 off the lap record, which is set by a former champ in Maurice Massini. So it's been very impressive already from Kel Tressiter. But the problem is Ben Walsh skipping away, setting another fast sector time here. Walsh are trying to just break the spirit here of Kel Tressiter and the guys chasing him. It's Young in there in third. Trent Young had an absolute shocker in Adelaide. The thing just kept breaking. Oh, here we go. We go back on board with Shibris, who's in a bit of a street fight here at MG. He's got Zach Best right in front of him, one of our younger competitors, another teenager. Sequential shift, very much motorcycle style.
Very smooth, which is key to Phillip Island, which is, could see a bit of aero understeer there. So he committed to throttle. The front of the car just got a little bit light, so he had to just lift, and it's cost him a lot of time down the front straight there.
6th gear, have a listen to the thing. Screaming. Do we go back to 5th for turn 1? We just we hold it there in top gear.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Bit like a speedway car, that one. Ooh, we've got one going slowly on the front straight, pulling over as well, but that was a big moment up ahead through the southern loop. You can pick spots off like that all day. You like them when they come easy like that. Cool onboard action.
You could listen to them all day, couldn't you? Just high RPM, flat shift. It's pretty cool.
And that was the car that pulled over at the end of the front straight. Thankfully doing a really good job to get that out of the way, so we shouldn't have any issue. That was Clark, I think that was, down there. Just near the pit exit underneath the WD-40 bridge. The gap, well, it's 1.8 seconds. Ben Walsh doing absolutely everything right. It's lucky when you can have a race at the front of an Aussie racing car, especially one that's so slipstream friendly, and you're not having to look in the mirrors every corner.
How good is the level of preparation and presentation of the cars? It's lifting every year, and has the Hertz car, nice chrome gold there, and it's good to see. When I did it in 2006, the level was quite high, but everyone's taking a lot of pride in their car.
Yeah, that's Craig Woods, that one.
It's nice.
Yeah, really good-looking black and gold livery on the Hertz entry. They dip it through that last corner. Harley Haber doing a good job. That's him in the 21. Actually stalled on the grid in the first race of the championship. And this is the slipstream. Look at him trying to break it, swerving left and right. Fun and games. A little bit of karting technique as well. They're just big. Oh, at the inside, that was going to be brave from Woodsy. They decided to get out of that one. But they're just big wind blocks, aren't they, at the front of these cars? So slipstreaming is just so effective.
Yeah, it is amazing, especially, an underpowered car. So once it gets to a certain speed, it's quite hard to push the wind, so you'd say. So, they need more horsepower to be able to obviously not have a big slipstream effect, but that's why it's such good racing. Low horsepower, good grip, so you can pass quite easily, and obviously good to get a slipstream. And look at them moving around on the brakes. We're still 2 wide, 3 wide.
Down to turn 4. Woods back up the inside once again. Back on board with Stevenson, same corner, a little bit further back. 2.5 laps to go for our leader. McNamara there on the outside. He's got a really good exit, but he'll be on the wrong side of the track here for Siberia. Oh. No worries.
Late on the brakes. He's cleared him too. Solid move.
That's one way to get it done. Brake later, throw it in there,
Yep.
hope for the best.
And that really is the key to driving an Aussie racing car fast. Everything your brain tells you, you have to do a little bit of the opposite and drive it in as hard as possible, get on the gas as early as possible, and kind of get to the other side and wonder how you did it a little bit, and try and replicate it. And I think that's why Kel's come out so strong this year. He's come from a gearbox go-kart, which is probably a little bit more demanding to drive, and there's a lot more happening in those cars. So you've driven them, Chad, and they're crazy. So he's coming to this, and it probably suits him quite well.
Yeah, I lasted all of about 4 laps in the KZ2. I thought my head was going to fall off. They are very violent little race cars. And the lap's ticking down here. Kel doing a really good job, but the gap is not closing up. Still nearly 2 seconds. Ooh, we've got one of our Western Sydney Motor Services cars running off the approach to MG, which is at the top of Lukey Heights.
That'd be a scary moment.
Yeah, maybe at Hayshed he's cracked sideways and ended up having to go the long way around. He's got a lot of grass in the front of that car as well.
It's good to see. He's being pretty respectful of his car. The Aussie car, the front splitter's so low, it just tears that splitter off if you're going through the grass a little bit too fast. So he's thought about it. He's done a good job, but impressive pace by the front too. Kel doesn't quite have the pace of Ben, who's driving exceptionally well, but they've probably got 3-4 tenths over this next two, which is pretty surprising for this category.
It is. Usually so much closer than this.
They'll all have a think about it. Next race will be on, no doubt.
Race 4 last year, the top 8 cars were covered by 1.5 seconds. So that's kind of what we're used to expecting here. Like we said, Moto 3.
Yep. It's only day 1. Give them a chance to warm up.
Yeah. I like that these guys get to go racing lunchtime on Friday as well. 4 races, less practice, more racing. Can't go wrong. All right, let's have a look. Replay's on. Are we going to see this moment for Grant Thompson? Yes. Okay.
Might have just grabbed the left front going up the hill. Really easy to do there. Thankfully, obviously a light car again. Gravel Trap's done a good job here and cruises down the side of the wall there.
2.6 seconds. The gap is actually increasing dramatically here for Ben Walsh. He's doing a really good job. Tressiter's going to be on for his best result, but there are, you know, a lot of corners left in the last lap to make a mistake and to give that lead away. So who knows what's going to happen. 4.5 Ks for Ben Walsh to bring it home. 208, 210 kilometres an hour, the timing screen shows as they go through turn 1. That is fast, and that is not where you want to be left.
Hopefully he gets it moving. I think that's a Honda hairpin on the exit. Looks like they had a bit of a spin.
Yeah. The leader is on their way to that part of the track, so local yellows will be warning everyone, which means it takes that out as a passing opportunity for the last lap.
He's just got it going.
Not that it really bothers this guy, because the Dr. Ink tattoo removal car is doing very well.
Impressive drive.
To break that stream. Young. Now, is there local yellows? No, didn't get the pass done anyway. There aren't. The car has moved. So these guys are free to race to the end. Young's looking good for third here. Like you said, Nick, you don't want to be the car in front coming out of the last corner. And that's the fight here, I think.
It is, and now he's just close enough to get a little toe off Kel up the back, which has got a bit of a headwind today. So that's going to help him. Great guns going up to Lukey Heights, and he should just get a gap, but same as the motorbike racing here, he could be passed by the start line if there's a bit of a slipstream down to the flag there.
It's all coming up good for Ben Walsh. Tressiter, second. Pingle's done enough to get close enough to get some kind of effect from the slipstream from Kel Tressiter's car. That could be the saving grace. Here we go, last 2 corners. Walsh is going to win it, but who is going to finish second, third, and fourth? Great drive, Ben Walsh. Deserving victory, broke the slipstream of the cars behind him, turned perfect laps, but this is the battle onto the front straight. Young's got a chance, here he comes, not close enough. Pingle will hang on to third, but a really good race at the front. It is just the first race of 4 for these guys this weekend, so no need to go too crazy just yet. They do have some reverse grid racing coming this weekend as well, I might mention. So
that'll spice up, and I'm sure there's been some massive battles through the field that we haven't been able to cover with that many cars. And
man, that was cool. Duckworth home for 5th, and that battle there was just outside the top 10. So Miles Bond got relegated a few. So too did Adam Ubergang. He was on for a top 5 at one point during that race. So he's been pushed back down the order. That's what can happen when you've got so many cars just in close proximity. Last corner for a few more, including Eastman, who's following Bowler home here. And that is for the spots just outside the top 20, following Mark Griffith home. And also Rinken in there, sneaking inside the top 20. But really good result for the Dr. Ink tattoo removal car, who held steady, led it from the pole. He's given it a bit of a fist bump in there, Nick. I reckon he's happy with that one. He is the winner of the first of 4 races. He's stoked.
He is happy. And to be honest, credit where credit's due. To drive away from a pack like this at Phillip Island, seriously impressive. Good job by Kel, P2, and that top 4 was, they were class of their own. Like
we mentioned, 10 years out of the seat in racing, Ben Walsh gets the job done after returning to the championship last year. Ubergang, one of our championship contenders, outside the top 10. Such a busy race. Blake Shibberis were riding on board with him as he had that little moment. Charlotte Pointing in her debut weekend, one of 4 ladies in the field, doing a good job.